Welcome back to another exciting edition of Rake Your Position, where four lifelong friends are living out the dream from the comfort of our chairs. I'm Aaron, the host. Go Chatham Softball Crew.
I am Joe, the groundskeeper. Let me change my name here real quick. I'll go ahead and say Cardinals suck. Go ahead.
I'm Jay Lee, the rover.
And I'm Corey, the stat man.
Alrighty, guys. Well, we had fun last week with our top 10 episode of our 10th episode for Rake Your Position. So we're back today, episode number 11, doing a pretty normal schedule. Starting off with our Rakings. I'll remind everybody, 2 weeks ago, the last time we did this, our order was the Rays, and then a two-way tie with the Rangers and Dodgers in second, and then another tie for fourth place with the Braves and Orioles. And it was the first time in a long time that Tampa was not unanimous, because Joseph voted for the Dodgers number one, maybe? I can't remember who you voted for. Rangers. You voted for Rangers number one last time?
Yeah.
Insane.
So we've got
smart.
We've got some fun rankings today. I enjoyed the tabulation, and I didn't want to look to see who voted what. I wanted to be surprised. So I'll just share this with you guys. We had 7 teams get voted on. And without further ado, it finally happened. In the 5th spot are the Diamondbacks with 5 votes. They received a 3rd and 2/5. Thank you guys for finally showing.
Is this the first time they've made it?
First time they've made it. It's the first time anybody else has voted
It's
for
been
it.
11
Me,
weeks,
right?
and he's voted for them every time.
I know I have, and I
never voted. I never voted for him early on.
Somebody, I think maybe somebody gave him like a vote like second week or something, but
I can't remember.
Because you're the first on the Rangers, the Pirates, and Baltimore. We were all week behind you on that. But yeah, so Diamondbacks 5 points in the 5 hole. Baltimore is holding strong in the 4 hole with 9 points. The Braves slipped a little bit. They're in the 3 hole, but with only 10 points. Rangers stay at the 2 spot with 13. And Tampa, once again, is in the 1 spot, but it's not unanimous. They're 19 points again. Somebody gave Texas another first place this week. Joe, did you do that again? Is that you again?
Let me look at the statistical analysis information system. Yeah, I did. That's where they should be.
Oh, that's great. And the Dodgers fell from tie for second to 7th. They got a single 5th place vote. Who wants to claim that vote?
Well, if nobody else is claiming it, it was probably me.
Those of you. And it's not like they don't deserve being top 5. It looks like these 7 teams have kind of climbed back to the top. Of course, Pittsburgh still got a good record, and the Yankees, but nobody voted for them this week. The Astros got 6th, so they're right behind the Diamondbacks with a single 3rd place vote. So I know that wasn't me. I know that wasn't Jared. So I'm guessing that was also Joseph voting for the Astros.
I thought I had him 4th, but
I'm good at messing these up, so I can. I can look now that surprise over. Joe had Rangers, Rays, Astros, Braves, Dodgers. Yeah, so all the weird voting was Joseph.
Yep. Okay. Well, I guess nobody else needs to talk. You guys just take this one.
Yeah,
Jared and I will just look confused.
That checks out. I'll sit back in the crowd on this one.
So Joe, why the Rangers number 1 instead of Tampa?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, let me look at the stats. Yeah, look at who they played the last 2 weeks, dude.
I mean, I guess if we just want to look at
the best team they played was Atlanta, and they did not win that series.
I guess if all we want to do is look at win-loss, we don't even need to do this, right? I mean, people already know what we have, which is what you're all doing.
Isn't that the point of Rakings?
Grab mine.
No, I voted Rangers 5th, so I did not go by win-loss.
Yeah, I mean, that's even dumber. So, I mean, I guess I'll just go back to differential.
Okay.
Oh, I love this.
Well, let me teach you how that run differential happened. I had Tampa first, and then the other 4 teams Rangers, Braves, Diamondbacks, and Orioles. I know I was going to vote for those four. I did not know what order. Diamondbacks keep hanging on in first place over the Dodgers. So I had to vote them over LA. And the Braves just beat Arizona in Arizona. So I had to put them over Arizona. But the Rangers, out of those four teams, have played the fewest games against current playoff teams. They've had by far the easiest schedule of those four teams. So their run differential should be inflated. Now, we'll know at the end of June, they have the toughest June schedule. They got Tampa, Angels, Blue Jays, White Sox, who haven't lost in June yet, Yankees, then an easy series with the Tigers, and then the Astros. So they've got by far the hardest June schedule. So we'll see at the end of June where that run differential and where that record is in Texas. Because like I claimed 2 weeks ago, they're the next Pirates. They're going to fall from grace.
Yeah, I mean, I still think they're wildly overplaying. They have a bunch of veterans that are playing at 150% of their career norms, but their games against 500 teams is pretty low, but there's some other teams on the list that don't have a whole heck of a lot harder schedules. And you're supposed to win the games you're supposed to win, right? So 100 plus 155 scoring runs. Got the most runs, right? What's that mean? They're the best team.
They are doing all of this without DeGrom, and will continue to be doing this without DeGrom. But which is
sad face, right?
Yeah, I know.
He's got like 20 starts in the last 3 years or something like that.
We just want to see good players play baseball. I don't know why they won't let us do that. It's very sad.
I know. Yeah, it's nobody's surprised, but it's still sad to see.
Yes.
And same with Strasburg. They just said he probably won't play baseball anymore because his nerve damage. So it stinks when the big guys can't stay healthy.
I saw shout out to Backwoods Banshee. He sent me a video. He has made, since he signed that deal, he's made $207,000 per pitch.
That's awesome.
Well, and I saw
a good deal.
With Strasburg. I don't know if you're talking about Strasburg or
Strasburg.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So Strasburg, I saw at the Nationals because you can get like injury insurance on these contracts, and I saw the Nationals do not have that on this $245
How would you not?
How would you not? That's almost normal now.
I don't know, but
that's amazing.
I don't remember the source. I
get
assume it's correct though, because I saw it on the internet. Maybe.
I don't know. The Nationals have done some weird things.
Yeah,
with contracts.
Anybody making over $5 million is getting injury insurance. I don't care what the cost is. You can afford it.
Yeah, you get the bigs, you got insurance.
Yeah.
So anything else? Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I mean, this ain't on the Rakings, but that we all know that I diverge off topic and go into ignorance.
You're fine.
If you're making $200K a pitch, how long and how much pain are you going to go through throwing balls? Like, look,
he's making $200 million doing nothing now.
Yeah.
No. I'm just saying this is like a hypothetical, plausible scenario where,
like, to get the money, you have to pitch.
Yeah, like some rich guys just like, hey, I want to pay somebody $200,000 just throw. Like, how long are you going to suffer with arm pain?
Arm's falling off.
Yeah.
Because my arm's going to hurt after 3 pitches. Cooney, your arm's going to hurt after probably 1.5, right?
Thanks. I'll throw
you got
for that.
You got the shoulder.
I haven't thrown in 4 years, so I hopefully
should be good to go.
Pitches.
Yeah, I'm throwing probably 4,000 pitches.
No, yeah. I'm with Jay. Like, I don't know how many pitches it will be, but I will be incapable of moving my arm at all. Like, I don't know at what point, what constitutes a throw, but if like I'm out here, like, I'm still trying.
At some point, they're gonna pay me to get off the mound. They're like, just get out of here, man. And I'm okay with that. Retire.
All that money, I'll just get a new arm.
There you go.
So what?
There's got to be bionic arms soon. Can't wait for that scandal in MLB. Like
that's true. Elon
people
Musk
have gotten on
chip.
like runners with prosthetic legs and stuff. Like, is that fair or not? Can't wait for the first pitcher to come out there with a fake arm. Just a cannon attached.
Didn't get after Jim Abbott for only having one arm.
It's like Mega Man.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. Well, now we have completely lost all train of thought here.
Somebody give me a quick defend of Tampa Bay continuing to be number one. And don't just say, well, they got the best record.
They
I
Pitching
mean,
is
they're
very,
at
very good.
they have the best record, and let me pull up their
And
schedule
they've
on the
played
teams that
better
they played.
teams. Yeah.
Thank you.
they have stayed atop first place the entire year in the best division. That whole division's over 500 right
Yeah.
now.
Thank you.
So if you could stay
Boston's at
number
500,
one,
but yes,
they're 31-30. Or is the game over today? The game they lost today.
they lost today.
Okay, when I looked at the rankings, they were, but still, that's third place in any other division. That's leading either Central almost. So the fact that they've stayed number one, but if you go by stats, any deep dive into stats that you do for Tampa, then Atlanta should be your number two because they lead the National League in all the stats. So that's the buff there with you guys not voting for Atlanta. So I'll just say that piece and move on.
Yeah, let's move on from that. But I mean, they've played the
The truth hurts.
Yankees a bunch, Toronto, the Dodgers. Yeah. I mean, they haven't even lost 20 games yet in a very stacked division.
Yeah. I didn't even look at their schedule because I just knew I was putting them number one. But like, so out of the other four teams on our list, the Rangers have 15 games against current playoff teams, and they're 9-6, which is pretty good. Braves are 13-7 against current playoff teams. D-backs are 12-12 against current playoff teams, and Baltimore's 12-13. So they've all played at least 20 games against playoff teams. Tampa's played a bunch against playoff teams, and the Rangers just haven't. So, but I mean, we can't really argue with those five teams plus Astros and Dodgers. Clearly, the cream of the crop. The Central teams aren't getting any votes. Milwaukee and Minnesota.
Yeah, I know. I just skipped over them when I was going through it.
Yeah.
This is
I
easy.
voted for Milwaukee a little extra at the beginning of the season when you guys gave up on them, but I'm with you now. It's just like you're going to win those divisions by default, and there's nothing else you can do.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I think the Yankees are close, but I don't think they're Astros and Dodgers level. But I mean, yeah, the East, NL East, NL West, I think are, as far as good division. I mean, the NL East is the AL East
AL,
is the
yeah.
best division. The NL West is good besides the Rockies. And so I think that there could be, whoever's leading that division, both of those divisions are going to be towards the top of the leaderboard, and whoever's leading the AL East is going to be number one, I think.
And their second place teams are probably just as good, if not better, than everybody else division winners.
Yes. Yeah.
So it'll be fun. It was fun to take 2 weeks off and then go back to the rankings today and see how it's changed. And we're
out for the Marlins.
We're third way from the season. So yeah, the Marlins are hanging in there still, despite everything saying they shouldn't be. So we'll see. Could be fun. It'll be interesting to see. In a couple of weeks, we'll have to do like predicting who is going to be buyers, who's going to be sellers. Maybe at the beginning of July.
That'll be fun.
That'd be a fun topic.
Yeah.
All righty, moving on. We're going to recap our predictions real quick. Jared, if you want to start us off with a couple of the guys. We're just talking about the guys that have an okay shot of winning it. The guys that are clearly out or have been injured, who have just been bad. We're like, we're not going to talk about them.
Yeah.
So Jared, start us off with a couple of guys that you've picked that are still hanging in there.
Yeah. So we'll start it off with Shohei. I mean, the guy I couldn't pick to be the MVP. I'll bring that up every single time.
Fair enough.
But as far as Cy Young, I mean, I guess you could say he's still hanging in there. He's 5-2 with a 3.3 ERA, 96 Ks to 26 walks. So, I mean, I don't think we'll get the Cy Young, but my case in point of mentioning him again is the fact that he can do this from on the mound and then be a dominant hitter. The fact that he's not just given the MVP to start the season, I think is dumb. Like this is insane. Well, we won't see a player like this for a very long time, in my personal opinion. But that's just me. Anyway, I also looked up his salary because I thought it was hilarious as I realized I had to talk about this guy, but year one, it was $545,000.
Mm-hmm.
Then it jumped up to $3 million. Then it jumped up to 5.5. And then I just love how it just instantly went up to 30 million. So I thought that was funny. So it excites me to see what kind of contract he's going to get. But also kind of scares me at the same time because I think he's about to set the table for a lot of players that can maybe do something like this in the future. But I don't know. I mean, as far as I think there's going to be a lot better pitchers in the AL. I don't think we'll see him come up with the Cy Young, but I'm curious, like, what that factors into MVP with what he's done on the mound as well. So you can hold out for that. Any comments before I move on to the next guy I got to talk about here?
like
nothing. I really just think he probably should have done it, picked him for MVP instead of Cy Young. But
yeah,
who am I to say?
Kind of couldn't. You did say. That's why I couldn't.
I'm just gonna get a shirt that says Jared's mom.
A few. And Jay Lee, you may have said these stats. I zoned out for just a second. I heard most of what you said, but
Thanks.
just
I
a
appreciate
few,
it, man.
just a few of the categories I see that he's leading in. Least hits per 9 inning. That's elite, right?
Mm-hmm.
10 wild pitches. Round of applause for that. And then also 8 hit by pitches. So
effectively wild.
Yeah,
effectively
those are
wild.
pitchers you hate facing.
12.2 Ks per 9. I don't know who's beating that, but apparently he's not leading.
Do you
not leading the league in
have
that.
how many innings pitched did he pitch last year, Joe? Do you have that looking? Do you have that?
166.
Oh, that's not bad. Because in a 6-man rotation, he'll be short on innings, so he has to do a little extra. But most guys are going to be around 180 that lead now. So if he gets to the 160, 165, he's not as far behind as I thought he'd be.
Yeah. The next guy I picked, well, I also had someone else on this pod pick him with me. I don't know how much I want to talk about him because I feel like we talk about the Braves an awful lot. So we'll try to keep this short and sweet. Now, my love for Ronald Acuna Jr. So just going through his stats real quick. Leading off with WAR, we'll get back to that later in the pod. But right now, I've got a 3.1 WAR, 12 homers, 329 batting average, 52 runs, 32 RBIs, 26 stolen bases to only 5 caught stealing, a 963 OPS, and 29 walks. So it's safe to say, as long as he stays healthy, he's going to be a 30-30 guy for sure. I was bummed when he didn't get the 40-40, but I think 40-40 will be pushing it this year. I mean, 12 homers, it's not saying it's not doable, but he'll have to go on some sort of a hot streak, I think, to catch that. But 30-30, I think, is definitely in the question. I didn't write any of his defensive stuff down, so Cooney, I don't know if you got any of that, but I mean, he's an elite outfielder, in my personal opinion. But I mean, what I think for him, still batting leadoff, right?
Yep.
It does seem like if he doesn't go, the Braves don't go offensively, essentially. So I think when you look at MVPs and you look at all that, like you look for a guy who sets the tone, and I think he definitely sets the tone. It definitely seems like when he's on the base paths, it's electric. Like he's going to score from first, almost anything in the gap. He's looking to get that extra base if he gets a single, or he's just going to hit a home run and do it himself. So, but I don't know if you had any of his defensive stuff pulled up because I did not check that out.
I don't have pulled up right now, but the one knock he has is his outs above average, and so it just must be a jump and read situation where he's lacking. He's always been mediocre in center field, which is always surprising because his sprint speed is top the charts, his arm strength is top the charts, but his outs above average is always at the bottom of the charts. Like everything else on his ratings is top notch. So yeah,
Gotcha.
He's on track for like 33, 34 homers, but I mean, we see streaks where he gets 5 homers in a week and all of a sudden he's back on track. So it'll be interesting because he's on track for like 30 and 70, which that's never happened. And like 80 extra base hits. Trout had 80. I saw a stat where Trout had like 30 something homers and 80 extra base hits a couple years ago and only had 11 steals. So if Acuna does that with 70 steals, it'll be crazy.
Yeah. And the other thing to remember, guys, is he's only 25. Like that's what's wild to think about. Like he's producing these numbers at such a young age. I was debating bringing this up, but I read an article about how they said he's grossly underpaid, right, from his contract. I would argue that the previous few years he's played. I know he got hurt, but then some of the years are just kind of average ball. But but they're talking about, and I don't know if you've ever seen this because like in baseball, it's kind of like the contract you sign is the contract you get. But they were talking about him potentially like holding out for more money. Do you think that's even possible, or?
He has never said a word about that all off season. When it came to Dansby's contract this year, and then previously with Freddie, but more so this past off season because Acuna was actually healthy. All MLB Network could talk about was how Acuna is going to be a problem in the clubhouse this year because if Swanson gets paid more than him, then he'll throw a fit. And that's just, I think it's just MLB Network trying to drum up something. And they're like, oh, see, they couldn't sign Swanson what he wanted because they couldn't pay him more than Acuna. It's like, because if you look at Acuna's contract, he had that huge year. He was at 24 homers to kick off June when he blew his knee out. Like he was on track for 40-40 that year, maybe 50-50 the way he was going. Just ridiculous pace, even better than he's doing right now. And he just signed that contract, and then he blew his knee out. So he missed a year. So, like, there's some risk with these contracts. We're talking about Strasburg just a little bit ago off air and DeGrom off air. Like, there's risk. And so, you know, yeah, he's going to get 10 million this year and then a couple of years at 17 million. If he stays healthy, sure, he's worth 3 times that. But you just don't know.
When is his contract up? Do you know?
I don't have it in front of me. So it was a 8-year deal
2026
with 2 options. So, okay. 3 more years.
Well, I mean, then
the
you
options
got the
kick in.
options, which
Yeah.
are
So he'll
both
be
team
30.
options. So
Yeah.
And people are signing massive deals at 30. So I guess
Yeah.
that's where my mind's at. Like he's going to get all this money, and then if
still
he
have
stays
time.
consistent, like he's going to get another ginormous deal.
I've thought
So
the
I
same
think-
thing for a while now about, I mean, like you said, in the NFL, you see it all the time. And it's been going on for a while now. These young guys in the MLB, you know, it's kind of a mutually beneficial for the team to buy out some of those option years and for the player just to go ahead and get their money in case, you know, something crazy does happen, like they suck or they get a leg ripped off or something. I've always thought that at some point, if it's
good, because that's a huge fear. Like that's
hey,
every
yeah. Have you
hey, I
seen
hope
the
my
great
leg don't
white?
get
Have
ripped
you
off.
seen the great white shark numbers? They're at record highs. But if they can legally do it, you know, I don't know. Maybe there's something in the PA or something that doesn't allow it. Somebody is eventually going to be like, you know, somebody with Acuna stats and maybe a different mindset is going to be like, I'm making 30% what I should be making, you know, show me the money.
Yeah.
You know, or I mean, and you can't 100% blame them, but
Yeah.
I just wonder if there's something in the what do you call that? The PA, MLB,
Yeah, the CBA.
CBA,
I
yeah.
think,
agreement.
and this might be an
Chicken,
entirely
bacon,
different
avocado.
topic for a different day, and I didn't mean for it to go this
Yeah.
way. But I think with that, I mean, they're the only sport that it's fully guaranteed. So that's what I think they can argue is like, well, yeah, we're paying you 124 mil, but it's not like the NFL where this is what it says, but you actually are only guaranteed 40 mil.
Yeah, that's the big thing with the NFL players. You get hurt that season, so you want to get as much as you can right now. But like you're talking about Ohtani, like so Ohtani came over before at such a young age that he had to go through normal rookie status and contract arbitration. And so like what he made 3 years, he made the league minimum, or maybe it was 2.5. I don't know when they gave him the raise. But Michael Harris, for example, just did one of these deals with Atlanta. So last year the league minimum was 700,000. This year, because he started that contract, he made 5 million this year in his second year. So these player-friendly deals, they're getting a big chunk up front. Instead of making 700,000 this year, Michael Harris is going to make 5 million. But that way the back end isn't so high. So
yeah, I'd be pretty happy with either of those numbers. You know, if it was 700 or 5 million for myself right now.
For sure.
Not me. I'm holding out.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. That could be an interesting podcast topic later. How different teams have gone about building their rosters. That could be fun.
Yeah. So anyway, I like the Acuna pick. It's the only one that I made that looks like it's actually going to mean something. So holding on strong.
Joe, talk about Ohtani and his MVP race.
Does anybody else say Otani like the little creatures off Star Wars? I do it every time I hear it. I'm like, Otani. Anyway,
No, that's just you.
That was just you. Yes.
really?
Yep, just
Now
you.
it's
Man.
everybody that
Now,
listens.
now
What
it's
are those-
everybody. Now it's all 26 of us. But yeah, it was
Yeah.
just
What are those? What are those? Are they the same people?
Jawas.
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 No, the same
Okay.
people.
Same
They're-
people. That's the
Oh
same
my
person.
gosh,
I
what
don't
are
know
we
who
That's the
that
same
doing?
person.
So now I gotta try to. I
That's
gotta try to find
Jawa.
a name that sounds like that.
This is the Ronald Acuna Star Wars podcast.
I'm up for it, man. I'm believing,
Yeah.
guys. I got a new idea.
So Otani MVP.
Tauntauns.
I mean, that there's really nothing else to be said because he's the only two-way player in the last 80 years, right?
Well, he's already passed Babe Ruth. Babe Ruth didn't do it very long. So
Yeah, but he still. I mean, when you think of two-way players who excelled at both, that's kind of who you think of. And so Jay Lee already went through his pitching numbers, which probably put him in the top 10 AL pitchers, at least. I'll run through his batting real quick because his batting numbers are probably top 10 as well. He's sitting at 16 homers, 42 ribbies, slash of 276, 352, 552, which puts him just a little over 900 OPS, which if you can sustain 900 OPS throughout the year, you're in the top 10 category. So if you're in the top 10 category of both pitching and hitting, you're the MVP. We were told, this group was told we couldn't pick him as MVP. Corey, was that you?
It was merely a suggestion.
Corey, I'll just let everybody know. Corey is not an imposing figure. At
he's
least to me.
5'5", 107
Man,
pounds.
I am. I
You
don't know what's
are-
happening with
you
my
are
dimensions,
shrinking.
but they are different every time.
I know.
So, obviously I immediately disregarded that and took the cheat code of
Joe's 5'5", 110 pounds. So
Yeah, I don't know jujitsu though.
that's true.
true.
We got a pod
Um,
about Joe's jujitsu career.
I got some videos. I don't think I want to show them, but so he is the MVP. He got second last year. How stupid is that? So I mean, somebody may have like a huge season, one batter or one pitcher, and they're like, well, we can't give it to Otani every single year. Yeah, you can.
The Mike Trout effect.
Like I said,
before
like I said,
Ohtani.
you just
Yeah.
mail him the MVP, and if he doesn't win it, you take it away from him.
Yeah.
Like that's how I would look at it.
I like it.
You got to save on postage.
And then
Give him 6 of
Sure.
them next 6 years.
so I had this guy picked for AL Rookie of the Year. Cooney tried to say he wasn't a rookie, which he was wrong. He is a rookie. And I tried to look up his odds of winning Rookie of the Year. I'm on my work computer, so I got locked out of like 7 different websites, but I finally got one to load here. He's odds on favorite to win AL Rookie of the Year. And if you look at man, I opened up so many windows over here. I think I've lost it because I looked up Ronald Acuna.
It looks like it's pretty crazy over there.
Him and Josh Young, or am I saying that last name right?
It's
Young.
young. Yeah. Just
Young.
young.
They're both kind of killing it, but I think Yoshida is a better all-around player. Young is kind of bashing the ball, but Yoshida's getting on base. I assume he plays good defense. I don't know. He might be terrible.
I don't think he's great at it, but
Nah.
So that's looking pretty solid. He and the Red Sox are surprisingly 500.
mediocre.
They're surprisingly in the jerseys.
Yes.
And they're playing better than empty jerseys.
Yeah.
They're in the AL East, so considering they're at 500, they're better than having 80% of the teams in the National League. So
Pretty much.
So yeah, we all put $500 on that AL Rookie of the Year. It's looking like I may cash in on that.
I don't remember this.
Go to joesbetspot.com for more advice.
Corey went through our picks and scratched out everybody that he thinks is already out.
I see it.
still
Yeah.
think Volpe with his Yankees and shortstop by his name got a chance. I don't care what he hits.
Well, he's going to need to hit 600 in the second half to get back in the race.
To get over 200.
So I'll throw it over to Corey. He's got some updates on our NL Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, so 3 of us chose Corbin Carroll, which looks pretty smart. He is 10 homers, 17 stolen bases so far. We're a little over a third of the way through the season, so 30-30 might be a little out of his reach, but if he gets on a homer streak, he could be there. I think as far as rookies, he's got a pretty good head start. That being said, De La Cruz could come up and
I know De La Cruz gonna get
for
it
2/3 of the season and just blow everybody out of the water. But I mean, he is been doing the same thing he's been doing all year. He's a great all-around player, defender, contact guy, speed guy, everything you could want in a baseball player. So I think that pick's looking pretty good for us. I did pre-pod. We talked a little bit about Adley Rutschman. I marked him out. He's having a great year, but it's just like the competition, particularly in Ohtani, means there's just not much of a chance for him. But he's doing great. I love watching him. I like my pick still, again, because I followed my own rule of not picking Ohtani. I think he'll be a top 5 finisher if he continues to play the current rate that he is. But as far as Corbin Carroll goes, again, if he stays healthy, and unless De La Cruz just has this just monster 2/3 of the season, I think he's got a pretty big lead right now in the Rookie of the Year. I don't know if any of you guys who also voted for him would like to add anything to that.
Nope.
Just watching him play defense the other day. He was actually playing center field, and he made a play off Michael Harris. It was like an expected batting average of like 900.
Mm-hmm.
And Corbin just sprints, dives, and somebody tweeted and said, "This looks like when the show glitches out on online play." And the way he caught it, got to it, that he shouldn't have got to it, and he got to it.
Yeah,
he's impressive.
He is, and he's plays for the Diamondbacks, which we love here. So,
yes, we do.
So I really only had one guy to talk about in my picks. So,
well, as Corey talked about Adley having a good year, but it's pretty much Ohtani and everybody else right now in our mind. Trout's the same way. I picked Trout for MVP. We left him unchecked. He's having a down year. He's having his worst year maybe of his career, but it's still better than everybody else's normal years. Like his OPS is down to 855, so it's fine.
Bad.
But yeah, like it's his previous career low is 939 9 years ago.
Well, yeah, because I saw it just recently. His career OPS dipped below 1, right?
Yeah,
it's at just in the past few
996. We were just talking about how awesome Acuna is playing this year, and it's like, what was it, 960 or 990? I forget what you said it was, Jared. And that's Trout's career. It's just ridiculous. So yeah, I'll be Trout can get hot the second half and get back over 900, then be back in conversation. But he doesn't pitch, so. My other, my other AL pick, who was actually probably my last time we reviewed this a month ago, I thought he was on his way off the list. Out of everybody that I had, he was one of the weakest candidates I had. But since then, Christian Javier and the whole Astros staff really has just been lights out. And so he's dropped his ERA from, I think it was like 360 a month ago, down to 284. He's up to 1.9 WAR. And he's 7-1 on the season, 12 starts, 9 Ks per 9 with only 2 walks per 9. So he's starting to make me look smart, even though he's third best starting pitcher on his own team right now. So that limits his ability to get Cy Young votes. But he's got the best chance out of all of them to consistently do it all year round, I think, because he's got the best track record. But yeah, so I'm in there. I also had Acuna and Carroll, so I'm in 4 out of the 6 races. But Acuna and Carroll look like locks. So yeah, Jared, what you got?
I would just like to go back to the NL rookie, and if y'all could just turn your mics down real quick. I want to speak directly to Mr. Walker.
1 second. Yeah.
Hey,
Alright, you
hey,
good.
Jordan. It's me. I just want to say it's really unfair what the Cardinals organization did you by sending you down to work on your launch angle, because you're hitting too many ground balls. But your exit velocity is fine, and those ground balls were fine in holes. But hey, we need you to hit home runs. So sorry that we sent you down to fix literally nothing when you got called back up to ruin your chances of probably making NL Rookie of the Year. But hey, you got my vote, buddy.
Thanks, Jay.
Well done.
Yeah.
Well done.
Everybody needed to hear
The
that.
problem was the Cardinals had, too many outfielders. They had O'Neill and Nootbaar and Edmund and Donovan, all these outfielders that were blocking
Those
Walker.
last two,
So,
who'd you say? Those play the infield. Yeah.
their center fielder Edmund and their other outfielder.
All right,
Donovan.
moving on. I'm not talking about this anymore.
All right, Corey's got a fun little segment here for our novice baseball statisticians.
Yeah, so I found out there's some people that listen that maybe aren't exactly that interested in baseball, and they just come here for our bright and shiny personalities.
Shout them out, or they're not going to keep listening.
Sure. So I mean, this is going to originate because my brother Ben asked me to explain WAR a little bit, and I think it's something that needs to be explained. And then also I found out that Kyle Freer, back from back home, back from 2 Doors Down, the knockoff cover band of 3 Doors Down. And so as far as I think anybody who pays a little bit of attention to baseball understands WAR as positive big numbers good, low numbers or negative numbers bad, which is I think that's pretty much what it is been invented to do, is to give you kind of an amalgamation of all the stats to tell you how good a player is on your team. The interesting thing about it is kind of how the total number gets determined, and how you determine what replacement level is, because WAR stands for wins above replacement. So it means the amount or basically how much better you are than what is considered a replacement level player, which is someone that is signed off waivers or that you get that was designated for assignment. And people have actually went through and filtered people that signed to teams through this method that were either claimed off waivers or signed as minor league free agents. And they analyzed them over like 3 years, and their WAR per year was like 0.4 between all of them. So it was like basically a perfect data set to say set to 0 for a replacement level. Yeah, go ahead.
I always thought maybe this is something else. I always thought baseline was just the league average. Like that was either 0.0 or 1.0. That's incorrect.
That is incorrect. So the actual to put it, I guess, in a way that which is where I'm kind of going, is in a MLB season there are 2,430 wins. So if you add up all of the team's win totals at the end of the year, there's 2,430. A team composed of entirely replacement level players, if there were 30 teams of entirely replacement level players, it is anticipated that they would have approximately a 0.3 winning percentage. To put this into perspective, right now the Athletics have 0.2. So the Athletics are technically worse than a team of replacement level players, as considered by the WAR calculation.
We need to send in our resumes, guys.
So what this means is that if you had 30 teams with a 0.3 winning percentage, that's approximately 1,430 wins total, which then leaves 1,000 wins, which is a nice round number that gets allocated to the players that are better than replacement level. So at the end of a season, if you add up every single MLB player's WAR, positive, negative, whatever, it'll equal 1,000, approximately. To give you an idea of how that works right now.
I did not know that.
Yeah. So this is the part that was exciting to me.
He's getting excited, boys. Look out.
So right now we're 63 games into the season, roughly. So teams have played different number of games, but what I'm going to talk about, where I'm going to say that each team's played 63 games. If you go through the calculations for that, there should be a cumulative total of 378 total WAR. And if you add up, right now there are 1,145 players in the MLB that have accumulated some amount of WAR. Their total, as of today, is 376.3. So it's right there. It's within 2. And for every game each 30 teams plays, you can add 6 WAR to the pool. So like each day over the weekend, you add 6 WAR, and it gets allocated somehow between the 1,145 players. Yes, Aaron.
So I should be thanking the Cardinals because they're giving all their WAR back, so the Braves can have more.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
so that's the interesting thing is, if a player goes into the negatives, someone has to go higher.
Right.
There's a finite amount of WAR. Like it's like it's kind of like energy, but it's neither created nor destroyed.
So there's enough potential energy in the league for 1,000 wins, but it's got to be turned into kinetic energy by everybody except for the Cardinals.
Sure.
Could one player have 1,000 more?
Yeah,
probably.
I mean, if everybody
That
else
would be like
has
a
0,
300 homer season and
or if
500 strikeouts.
Okay, well, tune in next week when we talk about Joe West being Ty Cobb. All right, no more.
So even digging a little bit deeper, it's allocated typically about 57% towards position players and 43% towards pitchers, and that is basically the more weight towards the position players is because defense plays some
wins
sort of role.
championships.
Yeah, that's true. You hit, you play, defense wins championships, but defense plays some sort of role in pitchers' stats and their WAR accumulation, so they get a little bit more weighted. So again, as of today, batters have accumulated 214.8 WAR, and pitchers have accumulated 160.7 WAR, which follows right along with that's 57% towards position players, 43% towards pitchers. So it was just a really kind of fun deep dive of. This is like way too deep for people that just want to know what WAR is, but that's if I'm not doing my job
That's
here.
what you do, Corey.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I thought the 1,000 win thing was maybe the coolest thing, and I was curious of how that goes throughout the season, and it basically kind of follows the same linear progression where, again, so basically, because every team plays Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So after Friday's game, there's going to be 6 more WAR in this pot that's going to be spread out somehow between these 1,145 players, or more, depending on if people get called up. And then after Saturday, there's going to be 6 more, and then after Sunday, there's going to be 6 more, and at the end of the season, it's going to be about 1,000. And then, so like you're never going to see, presumably, a guy with like just this outrageous WAR because it is limited by the total amount that is available. But as far as a baseline understanding, again, back to the beginning, big positive numbers good, low or negative numbers bad. But it's fun to see how it gets allocated and kind of where this all started, because there is an actual big equation that takes into people's stats that gets you to the WAR, but every stat has big equations. The 1,000 run thing or the 1,000 win thing was a lot more interesting to me as far as how you determine what replacement level is, and then figuring out how the numbers are what they are, I guess. But
well, I will say I learned quite a bit from that, Corey. So thank you.
And I just have one question. WAR. What is it good for?
To any of your stats.
It's good for about 1,000 wins in the majors per year.
There you go. So yeah, I've always viewed it the way Joe mentioned it earlier. So thank you for that. I always thought like this was a normal player. How much better are you then? So
yeah, I would have bet my life on that.
Yeah. So if
good thing I didn't, huh?
Let's say Trout gets 10 more in the season,
mm-hmm.
and the Angels win 90 games. let's say Albert Moore Jr., I don't know, is worth 0 WAR.
Mm-hmm.
If he was on the Angels instead of Trout, they would have won 80 games, theoretically.
I think so. That is still a little bit fuzzy to me as far as like I don't know if it's that direct of a correlation.
Gotcha.
Like this person, if he's on your team, you win 8 more games that year or 10 more games or whatever it may be. Because there's so many other
Yeah.
things that happen in baseball.
So that's probably why I was thinking about it wrong, the way Joe mentioned, because to me it always like Trout's only 5 wins better than the normal person. Like that always bothered me. I'm like, that can't be right.
Yeah. So yeah. Well, it's.
I feel like if Otani's on the Cardinals, his WAR is like 162. So they win that many more games.
He's the only one that was responsible for them winning.
Yeah. So there is still certainly a lot of nuances
Yeah.
to it. If you care, as far as the leaderboard right now, Wander Franco 3.2 at the top, tied with Marcus Simeon 3.2, Zach Gallen, Kevin Gausman 3.1 each, Acuna and Otani at 2.9, and that's top 6, but 5 and 6 were tied, so they both get a mention. So, which are a couple guys we just talked about. So,
Well, thank you, sir.
Yep, it's a fun thing. If anybody else, I would like that listens, any of the 26 people that listen and watch, if you have any questions that things you'd like explained, or maybe you have something that you'd like Joe to explain in his unique way, please send us something on Twitter, DM on Twitter, email, text us, because probably every 26 people has one of our phone numbers.
Hi, Mom.
Yeah. So, because it would be nice. Like we want to, I think, talk about things you want to know about.
We want to rake for the people.
Yes. Well, I don't really.
That sounds like manual labor. I'm out.
Yeah.
You said you're going to do a traveling podcast demonstration. You already gave up on that dream?
Oh, well, I'm charging a lot of money for that. So yeah, I'll still do it.
That's great.
I will say if and when, more so when, because I'm sure we'll do it again, we get back to the WAR game with this information.
Oh yeah, it's over.
It's over.
Yeah.
Corey won the WAR game too, didn't he? Oh, we got it.
Yeah.
Do we tally it all up? Got cut short, but
all right.
Yeah, you can blame my kids for that. I blame them for everything most of the time.
Wow. Okay, I'll blame your kids too then. Sure.
All right, Joe. Something here about you love robots.
And Rob.
I don't think I even know any Robs, so and I wouldn't say I love robots at the moment. I just feel like I will get there. So this, I was watching some Cars games. First of all, that was my first bad idea, huh? And so they were playing the Pirates, and it was bad during the Pirates game. Bad, probably the worst I've seen. And then I was watching one of the Rangers games. Shout out to my Cards. They, I never doubt them. They won tonight, 1-0. I knew they'd pull it out. It was pretty bad in the Rangers game. And so with the robots, I'm talking about the incoming robot umpires. I feel like if you have any finger on the pulse of some of the stuff that's coming to baseball, you probably know that those are not too far away. Yeah.
Nope, there's no pulse there.
I'm about 220 beats per minute.
Faster Joe's goes, the closer we are to robots.
So, maybe you're asking yourself why I anticipate loving robo-umps, and it's not because of any missed calls. Corey, I think you may like this, or you may not. It's not because of any missed calls.
Those are your options.
You can't be indifferent. You got to be. You got to be all. Yeah, it's not because of any missed calls. It's not that I want like 100% accuracy with what's going on. I think there's probably going to be a replay with it too. It's not that I want replay. It's that this is this is coming to my point, and the point is like so anticlimactic. I apologize to our listeners and viewers waiting for me to say all this. But I only want robo umps so I can stop watching catchers try to frame a pitch that is not even remotely close. And when I say I was watching the Pirates game and that was worst I've ever seen, holy smokes. I mean, does the catcher think that the umpire is 90% blind and also a 90 IQ? Like, you're not fooling anybody with taking an outside pitch and pulling it back to the middle of the strike zone. Every pitch, regardless of where it was at, he would try to frame it in a way that made it look like, 99 on the black.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't as bad in the Rangers game, but I know there's like a framing stat, and apparently that somehow works and helps. That's why the robot umps will be even better. It'll take that out of it. But it seems to be even more so nowadays. Or maybe it was just super exaggerated. Or maybe the Cardinals lose every game and I just wanted to be mad at something. That's probably the number one option there. But
That's accurate.
yeah, the ridiculous framing. I'm like, who do you think you're tricking? And if you're tricking the ump, fire that ump. Terrible. Come on, watch the ball cross the plate. Don't watch the guy's glove whip back into the strike zone.
Yeah.
But I'll tilt down so you can see my sign. I'm an idiot. But that was kind of my rant
You're
of
an
the
idiot.
week. I don't know. What y'all thoughts? Do you see that more and more, or is it kind of the same as it's always been?
Well, as a former catcher, it counts because I've caught one game in my life, so I can say that.
You're third on this list. I'm last.
Yeah, I've caught a single game, so I guess that does make me third. Because the best way to block something is with your forearms, right?
That's how I teach it at my school.
Well, I only throw 50, so if Joe's blocking, it doesn't matter where I hit him.
I think I'm indifferent. I mean, I agree with you on like if it's completely obvious what they're trying to frame, like something like you said, like coming all the way across the strike zone. Like yeah, that's dumb. But I think there's some art in the ones that are close, and if they can get that call, like the subtle little like that, I'm about that because I'm sure Corey's gotten me a few strikes in my career, but
Oops.
the ones that are like exaggerated.
He's gotten you some balls. He actually pulls it out of the zone.
It's like, yeah. He looks back at the up like, dude, that was a ball. What are you doing? But to your point, the ones that are exaggerated are super annoying. So I can see what you're going with that.
Yeah. I'm embarrassed to talk now because I was going to say that when I caught, I did not do a lot of framing because I thought it was offensive to the umpire to think that I could trick them. So, but
you have the right mindset.
Well, obviously it works though. Actually, on the flip side, I've actually had an umpire get mad at me, particularly when we were at Busch Stadium, because I kept dropping balls that he was calling strikes. And he was like, "Hey, can you stop doing that? You're making me look bad." I was like, because like they don't turn the lights on whenever you play there, and
right.
It gets dark, and like I would see the ball when it was like 10 feet from me, and then the umpire would call a strike, and I'd drop it, and he'd be like, "Let's go, man. I look I look terrible here." But yeah, I would catch it, I get it, I'd throw it back. I'd be like, you can make up your own mind. I don't need to. If me like doing anything changes your mind again, I think it's my thought process was that you should be better at umpiring. But this was before framing was really a thing because we're all old now, and I feel like it's a relatively new, at least as far as like the advanced analytics of the framing stuff. That's all a relatively new thing. So I probably did not steal you some strikes. I probably did the opposite, like Joe mentioned.
Wow.
Sorry. Well, I gotta not throw them in the dirt first. I think that's the.
There's two things that I've noticed recently with framing. The first one was actually, I guess not so recent, a couple years ago with Tyler Flowers. He was one of the first guys I saw go to the knee because he's such a big catcher. So I have seen like where catchers try to get lower so that when they catch the low strike, they're naturally going up instead of chasing it down. If you chase a curveball, you chase a slider. So I think at the bottom of the strike zone, catchers have really worked hard to get those calls.
I've noticed that. Yeah. No, I think you're right on that. Yeah.
And I was watching a video the other day, Corey, you might do this instead of like catching If your elbow is below your glove, you have to chase it. But if your elbow is above your glove, then when you catch it, it comes up naturally. I was like, oh, see. So I learned that.
What if your elbow is straight above your glove?
Yeah, anytime you catch it, that's going to bring it into the strike zone. You catch that low strike as you catch it, so it'll come back up naturally instead of chasing it and bringing it back up.
Yeah.
So I thought that was cool. But my other thought is, I think robot umps are comments in AAA, all that stuff. Catchers are going to be pointless. Like, you could just stand back there, side saddle, ready to throw the runner out. You got to block, and that's it. You can put anybody back there that's got a cannon that doesn't have to worry about framing.
Oh
You
no,
said
you said
cannon, not a
Cannon and
Oh, no.
can hit.
It's
Cannon
not.
and can
It's
hit.
not a rifled barrel. It's
No.
it's more like a bird shot sort of.
we've talked
you know.
we've talked about it. He's got
Yeah.
the velocity, just not the accuracy.
we've seen such an explosion in steals. I wonder. It's a good point. I wonder if that
Gonna have a lot of converted shortstops to
Yeah,
catcher.
put Mason Wynn back there, just have him stand ready to throw. Don't have to frame
So
it.
is there
something to see.
there's just no home plate umpire, right? Is that what's
You still call foul balls and plays at the plate. You still
I
be
would think
instructed to
you'd
pitch
still have a
clock and all
buzzer that says if it's a strike, I'm assuming he's still up there going like this,
Yeah,
right?
it goes into his ear first, and then he calls it. So there's a little
Okay.
delay, which
Yeah.
is funny when you see those huge curveballs that hit the box on the TV, but nobody, the batter doesn't act like a strike, catcher doesn't act like a strike, and it gets called a strike like 2 seconds
so you
later.
still get mad at the umpire, like, that darn robot.
You got to turn around and cuss up at the press box or wherever
The one I've seen the most is like when you're setting up on the inside corner and they throw a 99 mile per hour
Mhm.
fastball and they go like this. Nobody ever calls that a strike, but
Yeah.
it hits the other corner, and the robos don't know that you had to lurch to get that thing.
This happened last night at the game I was watching. Like, I love it when the commentators say, "Oh, good eye on that." Like, the batter doesn't know the catcher was on the other side of the plate. The batter still should have swung at that pitch. It's a strike. Like, they don't know where the catcher's at. But yeah, so robo umps are coming. It's just going to drastically change catching, because this year everybody's gone for defense. Like put
the
a high
Cardinals.
priority.
Well, I would just like to say, I think I'm gonna love it.
Well, yeah, like Wilson Contreras will be awesome catcher with this coming.
Yeah.
So
But he'll be playing the outfield, so it's fine.
See you later, Jeff
Anyway.
Mathis.
you actually bench Martin Maldonado finally.
Are we ready for our weekend predictions?
We are.
All
You have to give us a
right.
big recap on 2 weeks ago, though.
I will. It's a big one. Two of us.
I have no idea how it
I don't
went.
remember.
Joe and myself went 2-3, and Aaron and Jared went 1-4. So we all did bad.
We are so good at baseball
Yeah.
stuff.
I think I'm still number one though, right?
That's
or no,
why I think it really clarifies that people listen to us for our personalities and not our baseball skills and knowledge.
I think this is my first losing week, so kudos to me.
Yeah, good job.
Yeah, I think Jared
Thank
was
you.
running away with it for a while, wasn't he?
Me and Joe were tied.
Yeah, Joe, you got Joe and Jared are at the top. Joe's at 22-16. Jared's at 20-18. Aaron's at 18-20, and I'm at 15-23.
Joseph Otwell at gmail.com for all you owners that are wanting front office help.
And Joe's bet spot at pizza. Dot pizza. Joe's bet spot dot pizza.
What?
Front office help.
That's for his betting.
Picking winners. Like, hey Joe, we called you up to our front office here to see who's going to win this series. That means nothing to our team. That's your argument that you're getting
Yes.
hired for?
No, I pick winners based off the talent that I see off the team, meaning I could pick talent to come to their team and get wins.
See, I wanted clarification.
I just sold myself in 5 seconds, and I would get a minimum of an 8-year contract as a GM.
Hey, the first time you did not sell yourself, so I'm just.
You're in second place, dude. You're going to be my. What are they? I'm president of baseball operations, and you're the GM, so you're going to be there with me.
And I'm the groundskeeper in this scenario, I think.
Assistant to the special assistant.
The other.
So I'm just the face, and you're the one making all the moves, right?
Mostly, yes. You're better looking and better looking.
Anyway,
Did he back off a comment there?
I thought it was going to be some sort of. I thought it was going to be some sort of
of.
NFL rule that gets mentioned sometimes. But anywho, our first series that we're going to talk about is between our first two teams in the rankings. It's the Rangers and Rays. So this will be. Let's see if Joe puts his money where his mouth is here. I'm going to, because I'm going to take the Rangers because they got good pitching. I mean, it's going to be a great pitching matchup all weekend between both teams. I'm looking forward to it. But I think the Rangers, like we said, make or break week and month. So I'll take the Rangers and Rangers at Rays. Jared?
Rays.
Perfect. Joe?
Rays.
Okay.
Oh,
What
I
a
didn't
cop
say I
out.
like. I didn't say I like the
Hold
Rangers.
up.
I didn't say I think
yeah,
they were
actually,
good.
you did by voting them
No.
twice.
No, roll the
back
tape
it
back.
up. Why are we
Oh
picking
my
Why are we
gosh.
picking
I
the
never liked
Rays
the
over the
Patriots. They won the
Rangers?
Super Bowl every year. I'd say they're the best.
I've never heard you say
But
that.
according to stats, the Rangers should win.
All right, I said the Rays as well. So
No, look at it's at Tampa Bay. I mean,
There's like four
Tex-
people in the stands.
Texas to
you
Tampa Bay
literally
is
said
like
power
14
rankings.
hour.
Rangers are the best team in baseball. The moment it comes to vote for them, you say they're going to lose. they're not
Yeah.
the best team then.
It's not a neutral site. I'm looking at the pitching matchups.
Let's look at the
Next.
win probabilities.
All right, moving
Yeah.
on. Joe's wrong.
Mets at Pirates. Pirates have, I think, overperformed even still so far this year. Mets have not.
They're about right I expected they'd be.
Of course they are. I'll take the Mets in this series though. Jared.
All aboard the Mets train.
Did Senga get back on track?
He did good his last
Every
outing, I
other
think.
start is good, it seems like.
So this one would be bad, I guess.
Rich
Hill, baby.
I mean, I'm definitely taking the Mets. The Pirates are awful. I wouldn't even take one player off their team.
With that being said, I picked the Pirates.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
figured
saw
you're
that
not gonna
coming.
pick the Mets. Yeah.
Saw that coming.
Surprise, surprise.
Alonso might miss some time as well. The Mets,
Because his
yeah.
feelings are hurt.
he got hit on the wrist by a 96 mile per hour heater by old man Morton. Not
That might
broke,
do
but not broke, but hurt.
Alrighty. Next one is Red Sox Yankees, which I don't know if this is this might be a unanimous decision for us, maybe not, but it's an old time rivalry, so I think it's fun to chat about. I think the Yankees are pretty well favored in this as far as pitching matchups, so I'm going to take them.
Yes, the Yankees.
All right.
You know, you said something there that made me think of something. Can you want to guess what either of those are?
That's good.
Wow.
So you
Joe's
said it's
thinking.
kind of one of them old time matchups, right? Which makes me think old timey music, which makes me think of
Bob
like
Seger.
No, I'm talking way older, like a
Bach.
like an air pump powered
Beethoven.
organ, yeah, like an organ, right? Which makes me think of.
Did you finally figure it out?
No, I haven't, but I'm gonna go to Bush and I'm gonna charge into the organ player's office. I'm going Yankees as well. Sweet.
Charge.
Charge.
What did you say?
Yankees.
Okay.
I have Yankees as well.
Yeah, that's about
First
what
two pitching matchups for sure are Yankees.
Yep.
Paxton, you never know, but
next up, the Reds at Cardinals, which could get interesting. If you see that second guy on the Reds probables, Mr. Andrew Abbott, I believe we talked about him at one point.
Any relation to Jim?
I don't know. I think it might be his great uncle twice removed, his roommate, who just conveniently happened to have the same last name.
Nice.
Yes. I'm gonna take the Reds because I have absolutely no faith in anything that is happening in St. Louis.
Well, I think you put this on here because you know I have to pick the Cardinals.
You didn't pick the Cardinals one time. That has happened.
That happened?
Yes. Because you said prove me wrong, and then I think they might have, or maybe they didn't. It was one of those two.
I think I picked them and said prove me. Anyway, I'm picking the Cardinals.
I could here. I got the record here. Joe,
I will go on
Cardinals.
a limb and say that if they don't win this series, I do believe the season's already over.
There was a Mariners Cardinals series in episode 4. You picked the Mariners.
Oh yeah, it's because I had all my Mariners stuff on. That's your fault.
I didn't know what you were gonna wear.
You've worn Mariners every other podcast.
I texted you.
No, you didn't. I guess this is the same text message chain that got lost with what is associated with my apparel today.
That's great.
Yeah, it was.
Did you get my selection?
Yeah, I know what yours is. You don't have to tell me.
Okay.
I picked the Reds. I'm excited to watch the Reds rest of the year. They might be able to take the Central.
Somebody has to.
They keep calling people up.
Yeah, I mean,
there does have to be a winner.
I don't think they wanted to call people up, but they're just like, well,
crap, here we are.
Might as well, yeah.
And they're all awesome. So,
all right, and then to wrap it up, the Mariners at Angels. I had the Angels. I'm changing it to the Mariners, because besides Brian Wu, I like Luis Castillo and I like Bryce Miller, and that Luis Castillo and Shohei matchup is going to be great. This might be a game where Shohei hits a homer and gives up 2 runs and still loses the game.
I'm getting tired of watching Angels highlights where like Trout and Ohtani combine for 7 RBIs and they lose.
Yeah. So it's another thing where I really, we've talked about it all year, want the Angels to win, but I also have almost no faith in what's happening there, just similar to St. Louis. So I'll take the Mariners.
Well, I'll keep the faith and pick the Angels.
All right, Joe?
Keep the Faith, I believe, was a 1992 album by Bon Jovi, by the way. But I'm going with Seattle.
That's why I picked them.
This is, besides Rays Rangers, it's clearly the second best matchup. I got Angels. Mariners are playing better right now, but I got the Angels down.
Oh, gross. Cooney picked them. That means I lost.
I'm right behind you. Corey didn't pick them. We're okay.
Yeah. Yep. So just a quick recap: we got 3-1 for the Rays with the Rangers at Rays, and the 1 for the Rangers is not Joe. 3-1 for the Mets and Mets at Pirates. Clean sweep for the Yankees against the Red Sox. Split on Reds at Cardinals and split on Mariners at Angels. So we will see. Hopefully someone is above 500. That's all we can hope for. Because somebody's got to look like they have a general idea of what they're talking about.
All righty. Well, that was a great episode 11. Any closing thoughts to our rakers out there?
No, I feel good about what I said.
Hit us up if you want us to talk about stuff. Like anything you want to know.
Rake Your Position on Twitter, email, Gmail, and YouTube.
Like, comment, subscribe.
And you all probably again have our phone numbers.
And yeah, come by the house and say hi too. Not my
everybody,
house.
everybody lives at Pittsfield. All righty. Until next time, don't forget to rake your position.
Position.